All right, Leah, welcome to the Lessons of the Lashpreneur Show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. All right. So tell people a little bit about where you're from and what you do and all the things.
So I'm from Alberta, Canada. I started my lashing career in Edmonton. I actually started at Fabutam way back in the day. I think I was 17 years old. They didn't want to train to do lashes. I begged. I was like, I need to do this. I know that this is for me. So they sent me for training right off the bat, throwing clients at me. So it was really great because I really got pushed in the deep end. I didn't really have a choice. It was kind of like, okay, you're trained now, let's get to work.
Right. You're like, wait a second.
I was like, whoa, okay. And I mean, this was back in, I think, 2016. So the industry was quite fresh and there wasn't very many people doing lashes at the time. And so I got really busy really quick, which really kickstarted my career in a really great way. So about, I was in high school at the time and I kind of made a little deal with my school to let me work for credits instead of going to like school. So I didn't really love school growing up, and it was amazing because it actually helped me graduate. I probably wouldn't have graduated high school without lashing. So as soon as I finished high school, I opened up a studio in my home, and I've been working from my house as like just doing lashes since 2016.
Beautiful.
I've done a little bit of training privately and with some other companies, just doing like classic and volume lash training. And then when the pandemic hit, I kind of put that all on hold like most of us did. And now I'm just kind of trying to figure out what my next steps are.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And part of what you put on your application was that you get these great ideas, but then doubt or indecisiveness take over. So is there something, at least what you're facing right now, where you've got this idea, but you're kind of either overthinking it or you're just like overwhelmed by it, or it's just never going to happen? Is there something that's coming up for you right now?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's kind of, I feel like always like that. I get these like, I'll go through like almost like seasons where I'm extremely motivated and just excited about something. And then I find myself either going on social media, seeing someone else who's doing maybe something similar or something that's like maybe just a different spin on what I'm trying to do. And then I start to think, oh, like, why would I just kind of get in my head about it. And then I'm like, okay, like doubt starts to come in. And then I kind of go into a season where I'm like less creative, don't really want to work on those types of things. And then I'm kind of back to like ground zero, or I'll get a great idea. And then I'll like, right before I'm going to like start doing it, I will convince myself that it's like not ready. Mm-hmm. Like, not yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready yet. I don't know enough about this thing. And then I'll go back to square one and be like, this needs to get completely reworked. I had 2 like fully developed training courses that I was teaching before COVID. And then for some reason, I just can't. I look back on all of the curriculum that I made and I'm like, this needs to be better. This needs to be better than anything else anyone. I just get like very perfectionist / like just a little bit doubting in myself.
Yeah. And I think it's a totally normal experience. And actually, when you go back to listen to this episode, one thing that keeps coming up is right before I did X, something happened, right? Or I thought something, or what your first thing was like, I went on social media. To me, that's the trigger that blocks you from moving forward. So there's patterns that you're going through. It's a cycle is what it sounds like. It's not the first time it's happened. It's like, it keeps happening. So if we can look at the series of events that happens for you, we can start to understand your brain better of what is happening for you to stop and not move forward. And you have some great awareness of like perfectionism, competition, even, and that feeling like a threat. You said something, but you didn't finish the sentence. So I'm going to bring you back to that. You said you go on social media and you look at what other people are doing. And then you said, why would I? And then you cut yourself off. So finish the sentence. Why would I blank whenever you're seeing what other people are doing that might be of similar sort to what you want to do?
Yeah. So I almost kind of, my brain goes, why would I offer this if someone else is doing it and how would my thing be in, like, I don't really love competition per se. Like I'm very I don't love competition, but I'm also very competitive, which is a little bit tricky, where it's like I want to produce something that's not like other things out there, and I want to be different in that sense. So when I see someone doing something similar, I'm like, oh, mine is too similar to theirs. I need to make mine better, or I need to make mine at a different level.
Okay, great. Awesome. I had a feeling that's
then I keep going back to the drawing board because I'm like, it's not ready. They're doing something. I need to elevate this and make it different. So it's like I have that competitive advantage.
Right. So we call that a unique selling point in the business world. It's what makes you stand out compared to all the other people doing very similar things. So where I want to challenge your going back to the drawing board is, well, what's one thing that you might do differently, whether it's the way that you teach, who you teach, how you teach, that might be different than a competitor that is doing, maybe teaching the same thing, but in a different way, or not as good of you in one area. But that basically acknowledging and accepting that you guys do teach content wise very similarly, but you may serve completely different target markets. You may be very different personality types. You may have very different styles. What's one thing that could be unique compared to the primary competitor that you're comparing yourself to?
Yeah, so I have been basically devoted the last, I would say, month and a half. I just moved to a new city as well. So I've had a little bit more free time than I'm used to. So I've been trying to figure that out. Basically what I've come up with thus far is I want to teach, when I was going back on my curriculum and trying to reinvent and whatever, I realized I don't like teaching beginners at all.
Beautiful.
Okay? I don't like, because I was teaching it before and it was fine, but I also hated making the course. I was like, this is literally painful. I don't like doing it. So I was like, okay, then I shouldn't be teaching this. If I'm not enjoying creating the course and I'm not enjoying that aspect, I don't do beginner stuff anymore. So why would I focus on it? So
Yeah.
I've X'd that one out of the mix. I really love focusing on like lash styling and like special effects and techniques. So I'm trying to, I think that that's a competitive advantage that I have, that I have lots of styling and effects that a lot of other people actually, like, I don't know anyone else who does. So that would be, I would say, a competitive advantage.
Yeah, I agree. So
yeah.
even just focusing on that aspect, like, here's the thing is that there is what's called market saturation. And we've talked about that before. And a lot of people use it as like, oh, the market's so saturated, therefore there's not enough clients to go around for whatever business. It's a bunch of BS, right? Because on the flip side, if we're going to believe like so many competitors means that there's not enough business to go around, would the opposite also be true, that we would actually prefer no competitors at all? Because then we don't have evidence that what we want to do actually, that there's demand for it, right? So if we're going to have, I love the yin and yang balance, like we've got to have, if we're going to focus on like, oh, there's so many others doing what I do, then we also need to look at, is there balance, and do we want nobody doing what we do? Because then we don't necessarily have evidence that people want this. So the fact that when we look even at educators or lash artists and we see that there's other people out there doing it, that means, I would equate that in my head to, there's enough demand to support that many people being in business for it. I just have to find my little audience that I want to serve, because you don't need hundreds of students to be successful, right? And so I am a-okay with even with like other business coaches. There's plenty of other people teaching business and how to run beauty businesses and all that. They pop up on my feed all the time, right? And I used to think, like, there's other people teaching what I teach. What I came to find out is most of them have been students of mine in the past. And I'm like, cool, like my mission is working, that I'm teaching people that are then going out, because I can't handle hundreds of thousands of people in this country, in this world, that do this service. Like, great, let's go create a bunch of mini-me's. In context of what you're talking about, having even what we're calling is a niche. It's niche marketing or niche marketing. However, yes, you can teach anybody to do eyelash extensions. That's not the value that you have. You actually decided, I really don't like teaching newbies. There are a lot of people that only want to teach newbies. They love like that they know nothing and they walk away with a skill set and it's very rewarding. It sounds like you'd rather get in on almost more of the artistry. Like you don't want to teach the application, you want to teach the styling and the transformation of the client's eye. That's what lights you up. And that is a very, very unique niche. In fact, I can only probably think of, and granted, I'm super removed from this world, but maybe 3 people who have any sort of programs consistently just focused in on that. Sure, eye styling is taught as part of courses, just like business is taught as part of courses, but it's like a 2-section paragraph in like a 3-day course or a 2-day course. It's not enough for somebody to really go, I know exactly, like that chick's got a lazy eye. I know exactly the symmetry that I need to create and how to apply that and what that looks like from my point of view as to when she opens it and it creates that balance. Like that is something that I would go all in, especially if you already have excitement around it.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, if you have this knowledge of this is what excites me and this is what makes me unique, what is now stopping you from moving forward and putting that out there?
See, I'm very I'm a perfectionist, and so
Not to cop out, but okay.
yeah,
What
it
does
is a little
perfectionist mean
bit.
to you?
What was that?
What is perfect? How do you know when something is perfect or when it's not?
That's a good question. I don't, and I think it's all I'm working on something, and then it could be fear as well, where I'm like, what if it's not quite ready and I teach the course and there's stuff missing or it's not perfect or people don't sign up. That could be also something that I go, oh, well, then I'll just tweak it a little bit more before I do it, type of thing.
Exactly. And you are not alone in that. There is no such thing as perfect. And even you not having a definition of perfect is why you're stuck in a cycle, because you're waiting for.
I'm trying to find perfect and there is none.
Right. You're waiting for perfect to happen, but it's never going to happen because it doesn't actually exist. Right. So even acknowledging perfect doesn't exist, because what you gave me were great data points. What if nobody signs up? That's a data point, right? We put an offer out there. Nobody signs up. We had 0 signups. So then we look at how do we put our offer out there? And could we find a different way to put it out there or a better way to put it out there? Or did we get any conversations going about this course or create demand, right? Rather than what if nobody signs up? We don't actually have a data point to know if anybody's going to sign up because you haven't actually put it out there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the first thing would be just like talk about it online, right? Like go on your social media, maybe do a live of like, hey guys, here's something I'm thinking about. Will you DM me if you're interested in learning about eye styling, or even just going on and like talking about when you're doing a client and like recording yourself doing it of like, here's what I'm seeing with her eyes, or taking a picture of a client that's okay with you talking about them, because oftentimes clients don't like you pointing out their inconsistencies and all that kind of stuff. You can do it in a respectful way, or have a friend or something like that. It's just like, here's what I see, let me know if you guys want to know more about this stuff. Happy to share with that. You can, when it comes to content creation, actually basically share everything that you would ever teach in a course, but you're doing it in bite-sized chunks, either 15, 30-second reels. Like I have a podcast with almost 200 episodes where I talk about very similar stuff that I talk about in my programs. It's just not in the context or the order that I teach it in. So while yes, there may be value and benefit of like somebody that they could take away from the free stuff, really the benefit of what you're going to offer, especially if you're teaching them in person, is they're going to get that customized training. You're going to teach them your very unique way of looking at a face and figuring out the styling, your unique way of applying so that the lash is curved to the side or whatever your methodology is. But we have to start putting it out there. So let me ask you this. What comes first? You having the confidence to do it the right way, the best way, the perfect way first, or being brave to take the first step to get more feedback on whether you're doing it right or not?
Yeah, I feel like I've been working on this type of thing for so long that I feel like at this point, I just need to take all of the stuff that I have, put it together, and just go.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's being brave enough to put it out there first so that you can get the feedback to make it better. Because at this point, you've maxed out what your brain knows, and now you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know if somebody can learn the way that you teach it because you haven't actually gone in to teach it or got the feedback of like, this was really helpful, or I don't understand that. So you waiting for perfect without that data, without that feedback, you're just never going to get there because you don't know. You don't have that information yet for somebody to go like, because look, even if somebody said this class sucked, this wasn't worth it, this was the worst thing in the world, right? As like, oh my God, that's the worst case scenario. What would you do to make that right for that person and then make your program better?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I could definitely just take their feedback, tweak, fix what's wrong,
Yeah.
and
You can
then
always
go back
refund
out.
their money and be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I thought I had this figured out, or let me keep working with you. I'll do a class for free. Let's make sure that you get the result, like getting clear on the result that you can get someone, right? And then targeting that audience who wants that result, then teaching them that way to get that result. Like that's all you're doing, right? That's the marketing of it, is like, here's the result I can get you, customize eye styling so that you can, do really advanced level styling and charge more for your services, or however you want to position that. Somebody goes, great, I know nothing about eye styling. My lash course didn't teach me junk. And I keep doing 8, 10, 12 on every client. It doesn't look good on every client. And clients aren't happy with the way that their lashes look, or they say they look too heavy, or whatever complaints they're hearing.
Mhm.
Then you have a very specific result that you can get them. That's how you do your marketing, is like, hey, if you guys want to learn more about how to really create beautiful sets that can be customized to each client's unique face shape, I've got an idea in mind. Will you DM me? And like you said, even just starting off with like mentorship instead of having a curriculum. When I talk about this in the Lashpreneur Society and we're talking about building out an educator business, I always say start with mentorship. Start with some sort of hourly rate, or somebody can buy a package of hours with you. It's one-on-one. You go to their salon or wherever so you can work in their environment, and you teach them something that they don't know. Like for you specifically, it would be the eye styling, right? Or those advanced level strategies, so that you're not having to come up with a whole 2-day course and the theory part and the application part. You're just solving to whatever problem they're having that they didn't learn in their basic lash training. That's kind of the cool thing about our industry being so unregulated, is that like lash trainings are all over the board. There's some really, really junk ones, right? That people pay a lot of money for and they don't walk away knowing jack squat. They have buyer's remorse from buying this $1,200 or $2,000 or how many ever dollars they spent 2-day training, and they walked away and their lashes don't stay worth crap. They don't know how to apply volume fans. Like there's a whole bunch of problems that one course created. You are specifically targeting an audience that went to a lash training already, right? Because they're not brand new. Maybe they've tried it, but they weren't set up for success. And now you're offering one solution that can help them be better at their skill set. You don't have to have a whole 2-day course to do that. It could be just a couple hours and they learn a skill set and they're like, holy cow, that $200 was way better spent than the $1,200 I just spent 3 months ago and didn't walk away with anything. Now you come out looking like a hero. You have testimonials, case studies. Now you've got a student with social proof that you know what you're doing as an educator. You also have feedback for you of like, actually, I think I could probably rework how I explained the application and where her hand is when she's trying to get that swoop on the lashes. Like that's what's giving you the feedback to improve your program.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Is there one particular account or two on social media that you start to feel like, oh, mine's not good enough. Mine doesn't look like that. Mine isn't like that.
Oh yeah, I feel like, to be honest, it's mostly the For You page.
Oh, freaking
like,
TikTok?
No, on Instagram, it's like the like where the search bar on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
There's like that. It's basically you can scroll and scroll, and it's like a grid of just like accounts that you don't follow.
Got
but
it.
Since my lash page is all lash stuff, when I go on there, I can scroll for hours of all of this content. And something that I've noticed I've started doing as well, which is not good, is I've started to, I don't really know if there's a word for it, but like hoard my content. So like I'll make reels and posts and then I save them. They're just like in my iPad. They could be posted, but I'm just kind of like, oh, well, I spent 3 hours making that. I don't want to post it. And then what if people are going to scroll by it in 2 seconds and then I can't, like, then it's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the
For You page,
or the page, it kind of just makes me like it just gives me like anxiety. and it makes me stressed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to post my content because then it's like gonna be gone. And then I have to do it again. And it took so much time. And like I want to make sure I post it like at the perfect moment. But then there is never a perfect moment. So yeah, I would definitely say
what is the fear if you post and somebody scrolls past it? What's the fear or the meaning that you're putting on that?
It's almost like if I, for instance, make a reel per se, and it took me in the reel, I created all these lashes or whatnot, and then it took me however long to edit it, and then I have it there, and then I kind of think of it as like, okay, this is like a 4-hour reel. This took me 4 hours. And what if I post it and people don't even watch the whole thing, and then they just go whoop and it's gone. Okay. And then it's over. And it's kind of like, so the fear is kind of why, like, I spend all this time for people to like, what if they just like ignore it type of thing. So then I'm like, I'd rather save it for when I'm ready. But
what if they ignore it? Finish that sentence. If they ignore it, what does that mean?
I don't know. It feels like my time was wasted a little bit.
Okay. And what is the expectation?
For people to
go viral, that you're going to get like
hopefully
a reel. Okay.
I mean, that would be the nice thing if like people were to like see it, love it, interact with my page, or like click on my stuff type of thing. Yeah.
So the goal is for people to connect with you about your training,
the styling course,
the styling. Sure. So that's the goal, but you're never going to get there if you don't post content.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're not posting. Therefore, you're already experiencing the result that you don't want to experience.
Yeah.
The thing you're so afraid of, that you've wasted your time on reels and nobody's going to message you about your program. You've already spent the 4 hours creating the reel and it's just sitting there for nobody's eyes but your own. So you're already experiencing the result that you're trying to avoid by not posting. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So you've already wasted your time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I look at that and I go like, well, yeah, 4 hours spent on a reel like that. I don't know that that's the most efficient use of your time. And I think some of that is perfection in there, because I'll tell you this, I don't even spend 4 hours a month on creating reels, and we post content. We are posting 2 to 3 times a day, 5 days a week. Now, granted, I have a team that does a lot of the back end, adding whatever, but I do not, we do 15 to 30-second reels because those perform the best, right? Mm-hmm. This whole big, long, taking 4 hours to do it, there's probably a way that you could look at, can it be good enough if I just spend 30 minutes on it? Right? Or an hour on it, so that we're not spending 4 hours of our time. Because think, if you could do a reel in an hour, let's say, and I think you probably do it even less, but you could get 4 reels done in that same amount of time. That's like a whole week's worth of posts. You could have a week's worth of content in the same time that it took you to post one or create one reel that you never posted at all.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also going balls in on one reel, and the odds of somebody seeing that and being able to follow you and create relationship with you and then be able to DM you, that takes time and exposure, right? So we do need some consistency in content. Mm-hmm. But you're not even going to know what content performs well with your audience so that you can create more of that. And maybe your audience just loves seeing funny 15-second videos with like beautiful lashes at the end of it. We don't know what your audience wants to see because we're not actually putting content out there to get feedback on. Mm-hmm. So you might even look at the content that's performed well over the last 6 months, if you've done anything about lash sets, and just copy and paste that post again and see if it performs the same. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Not take the reinvent the wheel out of your vocabulary. We don't need to reinvent anything, right? There is plenty of proof out there of like, here's how you use social media. Here's how you get customers off of social media marketing. Here's how you have conversations. No need to reinvent the wheel. Just copy what everybody else is doing. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't have to be original and unique in that, because there is proof of what's already working out there, and you just need to put your name in the game. You just need to step into that and start, because you're getting the result that you already don't want and you're so afraid of getting and you're so fearful of by your current reality. but you know why you're doing that? Do you have an understanding of why that's benefiting you by like staying stuck and overthinking it and perfectionism and all that?
No.
Why do you think it is?
I mean, again, probably like a little bit of fear is kind of keeping me there,
About
I would
what?
say, about like failure or
Okay.
like not making it per se, or like living up to the expectation of myself in my brain.
Okay.
I
And what's
have,
the expectation of yourself?
I don't know, I have like a um an idea of where I want my career to go.
Okay. So share that with me.
So like there's certain people in the industry that I really, really look up to. Um Trainers per se.
Okay.
So I feel like in my mind I envision myself as becoming like a really sought after lash trainer in who like obviously offers like a unique course and is extremely accessible and widely known. So
Okay.
that's kind of like something I
So how do you
envision.
know you're highly sought after? What could I look at in, like, if I'm walking around filming you in your very own lash reality television show and you are sought after and a very successful lash educator, what is it I'm seeing in the camera that you could tell me this is me successful?
Like having, I would like to travel for trainings, like traveling around and not having to work and not be on the tools per se as much, like maybe doing more model sets and then like traveling every month for trainings is what I kind of view myself as like becoming, quote unquote. That's like my success and like my idea of what I would.
So you're not even really taking lash clients, but you've got almost this educator brand and you're hosting workshops all over the world. And so you're less like client based in your physical studio doing services, but your service is really international education. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That would
I
be
love
what
that.
in my brain, that's my future success. That's what it would look like.
Okay, cool. So that is the goal that we're working towards. That's the North Star, as you'll call it, right? It's the data point that we use of like, this is me being successful when I'm doing at least, we could even get even more granular, like one international workshop a quarter, and then once a month trainings locally or kind of in my province.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we could get points of like, that's where I want to go. So how do I work backwards to get there? Because you've got your current reality where you're taking lash clients, you're not really putting yourself out there as an educator. And then here's where we want to be is like full-time educator, traveling the world, blah, 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 right? So we've got a gap between where we are and where we want to be. So if you, do you mind sharing who one of your idols are, or your inspirations is?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a couple. One who isn't as, I don't know if you've heard of Lux Uncut.
Miss Lana. Yes,
Yes,
I have.
Miss
Former
Lana.
student of mine.
Yes. So she, I know she like recently, she like moved to the UK, I think, and then came back or whatever. But when I don't know if she's doing like traveling trainings anymore, but when she was someone that I really looked up to. And then also I love Maven.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's phenomenal. I've never taken any of her courses or anything, but she's like one of my. So
Oh,
those
she
are
is
probably
like
top.
the founder of advanced eye styling for sure. She has, I mean, she is stellar. Yes.
Yeah. So those two off the top of my noggin are like the two people that I like both of what they're doing, and I would like to do something similar in this to a certain degree.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Except with your own spin on it, right?
Yeah, with my own spin on it.
So, I mean, I worked with Lana. She was one of my probably original members inside the Lashpreneur Society from when she was 18 and started her business and kind of grew from there. And I didn't know she came back, but I do remember having conversations with her when she was stepping back. This was right before the pandemic. Even before the pandemic, she was stepping back. So knowing what I know about how much she has tried to pivot and grow and evolve and change, even as young as she was, right? Because that was a big battle for her, was like, I'm so young, who wants to work for me? Like, I have such big business dreams. If you looked at both of them, how have they showed up online, on social media, at events in a way that's like, wow, they're really putting themselves out there, or this is them trying to connect with their audience or provide value?
I would say, I feel like Lana, she's very, when she was doing a lot of trainings, it wasn't even just like taking a training from her. There was a whole aspect of like, it was almost like people wanted to take it to be in the course and meet the people in the course, necessarily, not necessarily what you were learning. I feel like the aspect of her course that never, like, I at one point I was like interested in taking her trainings, and obviously the pandemic hit. But when I think back about what I was thinking when I was wanting to take her course, I wasn't even thinking about like necessarily learning a new thing in it. It was more so like, it was so aesthetic and so like cool per se. And that was one thing that I really like, now me wanting to get into trainings, that I'm trying to like embody as well. Cause she like, her text, like everything was just so aesthetic and so put together. And that's the one thing that I don't even know what the content was about in the course, to be honest. I know she taught like advanced volume and stuff, but other than that, that's the reason that most people, I think, wanted to take her course, was because of the environment and kind of the feeling it gave you. So I really like, that was one thing that with her, I really, really looked up to.
Okay.
And then for Maven, I would say she is someone who doesn't necessarily post a lot either. Like, she posts obviously probably more than me and whatnot, but she has stayed very true to her brand, and everything that she puts out, I feel like, is to a certain level of quality. So that's another thing that I really look up to for her, and would aspire to be similar. But then with that, that's kind of back into the, I want everything to be perfect type of thing. So I need to kind of find a balance, I think, between making it aesthetic and perfect and having a certain level of quality and still showing up.
Yeah. And even looking at how they've evolved over the years, because it sounds like you've been following them a long time. I mean, I remember Lana, her photos of her clients was very unique. I mean, stellar. Her editing skills were top notch. It was very branded, right? And I think that's kind of the theme that you're seeing from both of them. They're very specific brands with their colors, their aesthetic. I think if I remember, Trina has a background in graphic design, so her brand has always been very, very intentional and really thought through very well.
Yes.
What it sounds like is with the Lana stuff, it sounds like it's more about the experience of her classes that you want to be a part of, more so than result, because you didn't experience the result, because it sounds like you haven't taken her class and you don't really know what the full result was, but it was the experience you wanted to be a part of. Right. And I would say it's probably similar. I would say with Maven, it's both the results and experience, at least as far as my understanding of, like, she is kind of the go-to, you know what practice application you're going to do, like the whole lashing on your hair, I'm pretty sure came from her, or your arm hair. She's got those practice papers that you can get,
the pads and
sponges.
stuff.
Like, she has come up with a really unique way of teaching her methodology. Even her application, I think there's an iPad application where it's really detailed and involved for her course, but all that came over time. Like, it certainly didn't start that way. And that kind of stuff will come up as you get in there. And honestly, what helps to get the website and the branding and the courses, and like, I remember when Maven moved into, I think it's her new HQ, I remember her color palettes on the wall. Like, it was almost like you were going to go look at paint samples at like a department or a home goods store. But all of that comes when you have the cash flow to invest in those kinds of visuals and brandings and aesthetics. But without the cash flow, it's kind of hard. You got to kind of start with whatever you can do by yourself until the business can support investing into people that can redesign a website where it's cohesive. But really, it sounds like the experience is kind of what drew you in, that you can start to put out there for the people that want to learn eye styling and have the experience that Leah and her classes can get. So if you had to pick Because there's two reasons why people purchase from you and why they come back if they want to come back for more than one training. It's the results and the experience. So the results we've got in clarity for you is that they're going to learn eye styling, and you can even get more specific as to what that is. Because that can also be like, is it that you're going to learn the wet look or the strip lash look or the swoop look or the perfect line? Or are we learning all of that in your classes? Like getting specific as to what result they're going to learn from taking your course and what the experience will be. Is it group? Is it one-on-one? Just that alone can distinguish what kind of experience your student's going to have. Documenting the experience as you have a student of like, you know, even setting up on a time lapse your phone kind of in the corner as you're teaching, as you're training, knowing that you're going to be talking and teaching and doing a day in the life and showing your behind the scenes of how you set up for a class. All of that stuff is inviting your viewers into the world of what it's like to be a student of yours, to be an educator, to want to be a part of what you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Without putting yourself out there, if you feel like it has to look like Maven's now or Lana's now, you're comparing your day 0 to their day 570,000, right? Like they've been doing this for years.
Yeah, you're right.
So I want you to also look at it as, you can give it a time frame. 3 years from now, there's going to be somebody out there who's thinking they're not good enough on Leah's level. That seeing Leah's post makes them feel like, oh man, mine's not perfect enough. That you need to start now so that you can be that version that inspires others, motivates others. You know, you can speak to, man, I used to feel that way too, but all it took was one interview on the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show to get a kick in the butt to just freaking start.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I wasn't on the list of people that you aspire to be like, so fine. But I will share my story. When I started, and you guys, if you've got time, go back through our 1,500 posts or whatever, and go back to when I had a green kind of tile as my thumbnail on my Instagram posts. And they were 1 minute Lash Biz tip of the days, which was like kind of reel styles before Reels was a thing. Reels wasn't even on the radar. Stories, Instagram stories was not even around when I started posting on Instagram. That's I'm dating myself. This was 2016. Okay. So we didn't even have like Instagram stories. That was like a novel thing. But that was how I just started putting information out there. I'd be sitting with my clients. My clients would be asking questions. I'd be answering them. And I'd be like, cool, let me put that, what I just shared with my client out there. The very first Lash Biz tip of the day that I shared was about Halloween candy. It was November 1st, 2016. And I was like, hey, if you've got leftover Halloween candy, put it out in the dish and make sure that your clients are taking candy or something along those lines. I don't even remember what it was. But it was just me starting with very simple, short tips. I put an ugly green thumbnail on there as like my cover photo of what was in the video. And that was it. It was just like a wash of, I think I did that for probably a year or two before I changed my branding to be more of the white and the cleaner aesthetic, because I didn't care about what the visual looked like. I cared about the value of my content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I mean, even still, our feed, and I think that's probably where, you know, a lot of social media is heading. I'm even going to go look at my feed right now. It's not about what the overall feed looks like. The overall feed really is for those that are brand new to your page. But when you are so focused on what your visual aesthetic of your feed looks like, you are not serving the people that already follow you because you're so worried about what the visual of this looks like. So anybody who's posting like those where it's like 6 or 7 posts on the feed and it's one image, but it's broken up into like 6 little posts, they're not thinking about, like, I've got 35,000 people that follow me. If I'm posting that stuff, my engagement's going to tank. And I'm only targeting people that are going to my profile page for the first time. Because once people follow you, they're seeing you in their feed, not going to your main profile page. So focus more on the value of who you already have and how you can serve them deeper, rather than trying to go out and get more people. Because guess what starts to happen? When you are really good at serving your current audience, other people will start to notice online. You'll start showing up in the FYP, right? You'll start showing up in the search page. And that's how you get more eyes on your stuff, because your content is already serving those that follow you. Therefore, the algorithm's going to boost it. It's going to show it to more feeds. It's going to put it in your FYP page. It's going to start putting it in front of other accounts that are interested in the same thing. So you have a lot more organic growth. But again, you don't need hundreds of students a month. You need, I mean, even to start with just 1 student a month, 2 students a month, 3 students a month. Start there and just focus in on serving them rather than looking at what everybody else is doing and feeling like you're not good enough, because that is really, if I'm going to give you some tough love. Can I give you some tough love?
Yeah, give it to me.
You're being selfish. You
Yeah.
are so worried about your own image and aesthetic, but there's somebody out there who has no idea what they're doing. They're losing customers left and right because all they're doing is 8, 10, 12, right? It's cookie cutter lashes. They're not creatively inspired. They're thinking they're going to get out of the industry because this is not what they thought it was. And one class from you or one mentorship session with you can reignite their passion about it. They can start pumping out beautiful lashes, and they can change women's lives by how they feel about themselves, all because of what you have to teach them. So by you sitting on it's not freaking perfect, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity of really creating a beautiful impact, not just in your students' lives, but of their clients' lives as well. So get out of your head with that stuff, because it's not serving you. It's keeping you safe. And that's really what I wanted to get at, is like, it's keeping you from failing, right? It's keeping you from not putting yourself out there, is like you're in your comfort zone. Right. And so there may be some, what we call an upper limit belief of like, wow, if I am really successful at this, if I get like 20 people DMing me about my course or whatever, what would that, like, can I even handle that? Right. Like, what would that even look like? But you're not even giving yourself the chance to figure it out. You have so much evidence of what you want, but you're self-sabotaging in that and calling it perfectionism. There is no perfect. And you know what? Failure doesn't exist either. The only way you fail is when you choose to no longer do what you're doing. And it's not even failure then, because it's your choice. So stop labeling things as failure, as perfect. They don't exist. There's a great way to like shame yourself. So instead, let's do, I've been doing this exercise a lot, and we'll kind of wrap up here with people inside the mastermind and people inside the society. Whenever you feel like things are happening externally to you and you're just like, it's not perfect, or it's not good enough, right? That was another word that you used. I want you to change it from that belief to I choose, and then whatever action. So currently you are choosing not to post on social media because why?
Because I'm afraid of it not resulting in what I want it to.
Okay, so I choose not to post on social media because I'm afraid that it's not going to result in what I want.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
So when you say that you're choosing that, how does it feel?
Not as good.
Okay, cool. I would agree with that statement, but this is your choice, right? And if you want to say like, I choose not to post on social media because it feels safer to me, cool. So come up with an I choose statement that does feel good to you.
Does it have to relate to
wherever you want to take this, wherever your head's going?
Okay.
What is it you do choose? If you're being intentional about how your life unfolds, what is it you choose?
I choose to start offering training, even if it's not perfect.
Because
I don't need to be, not everything needs to be exactly perfect for me to have success with it.
Boom. When you're listening back to this episode, replay that part over and over. Anytime you're doubting, anytime you end up on your FY page and you're scrolling, you're doing the doom scroll, go back.
The doom scroll.
The doom scroll. That's all it is. In fact, my other challenge to you would be I choose not to scroll the FYP because it's a waste of my time and energy.
Yeah.
You don't need to be inspired. I mean, I'm a big advocate of letting social media be a place of inspiration, not desperation, not fear. So be very, very conscious about who you follow, even when it comes to, no offense to Lana or Maven, even if it means unfollowing them because you actually feel like you're not good enough when you see their posts. If it's like, I'm inspired, I want to be like that, that makes me feel good, I'm like so hopeful that I'm going to be there someday, great. But if there's any accounts that you're seeing that make you feel like you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, that you're not there yet, stop exposing yourself to them. Stop putting toxic thoughts in your brain. Stop exposing yourself to the trigger that's keeping you stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Say your I choose statement again.
I'm just gonna remember.
I choose blank because blank.
I choose to offer my course, even if it's not perfect, because I will have success, even if it's not everything is
No, you're just
exactly
leave it
how
there because I will have success.
I will have
Leave it
success.
there. Yep,
Okay.
we don't need context around it. You just need to believe that you're going to be successful. And that starts with putting yourself out there, putting a post out there, offering a mentorship, learning about marketing, you know, an educator business. Get people in the DMs. That'll be my little tip for you today. Get people talking to you in your DMs. That's where sales happen. They don't happen on the post. They don't happen on the reel. They don't happen on the story. They happen in the DMs. Build that relationship, serve the crap out of people. Focus on serving people, the money will come. Right.
Mhm.
So even inviting them of like, where do you struggle with eye styling? Have you tried eye styling classes before? Who's your favorite eye styling educators? These are mine, right? Get people talking to you in DMs, and that's where the relationship is built. That's where trust is built, that their money is safe to spend with you. See,
Awesome.
you didn't die. You got through the whole episode.
Yeah, I'm alive.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and letting me just kind of share some wisdom and some mindset stuff on you. I better see you doing big things, girl. Now I'm going to hunt you down.
I will be.
All right. Can you share your social media handle for anybody who wants to learn more about eye styling?
My Instagram is just Lash Oasis.
Beautiful. Awesome. So we'll link that in the show notes. So if you guys want to learn about eye styling, hit her up in the DMs, ask her, pick her mind, right? I don't know. We get a lot of people who listen to this stuff. So you might be getting some interesting DMs.
Well, my DMs are open.
Love it. I love it. See, she's already putting herself out there. Mission accomplished. All you had to do is come up with your I choose statement. And here you are marketing yourself.
Yeah, here I am.
Beautiful thing. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Have a good one.